Hi everyone, I'm so glad to be here. My name is Kaitlin and I'll be pitching my business idea, Makan Impact. One of the things that we are noticing in Indonesia is the story of someone like X. They are definitely someone privileged. They're able to shop for groceries every single week, but also buy additional groceries throughout the week, order food, go out to restaurants, and organize large, lavish dinner parties. All this consumption leads to a lot of waste. On the other hand, we have 24 million Indonesians who are unable to meet the minimum requirement of daily calorie intake. This paradox is very noticeable in the Indonesian society, and this issue is what motivated me to be here today. What we are seeing is that we have up to 24 million tons of food waste annually, ending up in landfills, which creates many negative impacts on the environment, such as energy loss and a lot of money being wasted. My name is Caitlin. I'm going into my senior year, and one of my passions is food and beverage. I grew up in a family that loves food in general. Food is a sign of love in my home country. That is also why I'm also concerned about the exacerbating food problem we have in my country. I also felt, and research has validated this, that there are changes in users' behavior right now. We are seeing more attention into this problem, especially after COVID, when everyone is reconsidering their priorities in life. We also see this from the perspectives of the users. So when I've conducted my primary and secondary research, I organized it in a value proposition canvas that can be seen here. From this, I see that people do want to waste less food and that they do want to make more conscious choices. The solution that I came up with is definitely matching the pains and benefits that were mentioned here by the users. So this is Makan Impact, and I'd really like to share the story behind the name. Since the app will be mainly targeting the Indonesian market, we wanted to keep some of our Indonesian roots in the name. So Makan means food in Indonesian, but the name is also transferable to English, and it is a play on the words make an impact. So what are the features of the app and what makes it unique? So we currently do not have a prototype as this is still a very fresh idea, but these are the main features that will make up our app. Although this will not be the only food waste tracker out there, we will have food expiry notifications. It will be in English and Indonesian. We will have something that no other food waste apps have, which is connection to food banks, and we are creating a system to motivate users to waste less food. Um, the less food users waste, the more points they will get, which can be transferable into vouchers for them to redeem. And we will also be providing recipes for them to reinvent leftover food. So how are we going to make a profit? We plan on using a freemium model and partnerships in order to promote our business from universities to banks to NGOs and hopefully the government. Through benchmarking, we found that the prices in the previous slide were the most suitable with still competitive pricing. We will be our own business. However, these partnerships will help us with the voucher aspect of our app and also introducing our platform to a wider audience. In order to gain traction for our app, we will employ a variety of techniques from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, influencers, word of mouth in order to target our two main targets groups of users, which is Facebook moms or young moms and the younger generation, such as Gen Z. We're going to gradually work on the app for the next 30, 60, and 90 days. And of course, with your input today, it will be so amazing in implementing our business. And hopefully, we'll be able to reach our desired impact, which is to raise awareness to make the Indonesian population be more aware, eventually reduce the impact on the environment, change the behavior of the Indonesian market since we want our impact to be a long-term impact. And also, if we reach our target of 300 to 500 users within the first 12 months, we would be able to save up 2.5 tons of carbon dioxide released in the environment. Hopefully, the negative impacts of food waste will be reduced through Makan Impact. This idea is still very fresh, but hopefully from this, we are able to improve our research and development. Thank you so much, and I'm here for your questions.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kaitlin. That's awesome. You've managed to stay well within the time limit as well. So I applaud you for that at the same point in time, getting so much information across. Judges, if you'll help me a little bit as we go through, I'll start off with Marcelo, but from now, do you mind popping the little hand up so that I can facilitate a little bit better? That'd be awesome. Marcelo, let's start with you. Thank you.
Yeah, Caitlin, congratulations for your initiative and all you are doing for the world. I super appreciate your presentation. Uh, One of the things that typically are in the middle of these kind of solutions is the logistics part. I mean, how are you going to, what are your thoughts about the transportation? Because when you talk about 300, 500 kilos, it's not a big deal, but hopefully you will scale up. So I would like to know if you have started conversations in terms of logistics. Thank you so much, Caitlin.
So since we're still in the very beginning process of building this business, we unfortunately haven't thought of the logistics or transportation. Um, but we do feel that that part will have like the partnerships that we have with like connection to food banks and also like other bigger businesses. I feel like if we do end up collaborating with them, the transportation part and hopefully the logistics part will come easier for us as well.
Super. Thank you.
Thanks, Marcelo. Michelle, after you, please.
Great presentation. Thank you, Caitlin. Could really see, your passion in the food F&B industry there. A lot of good research. So well done. One of the things, I guess, for a layperson, when you're presenting, when you talk about 23 tons, that kind of numbers and all that, maybe it'll be really, even more impactful when you present it, when you go, oh, 23 tons, it's like, I don't know, 5 football pitches or 8 planes on the tarmac or something that people can sort of go, oh, wow, because sometimes people don't understand what 23 tons could be. So try to, maybe simplify it that way. I really like your idea about getting coupons and all that, but maybe explore looking about gamifying some of these, where you have between different groups of friends or social groups, or could be, I don't know, corporate, whatever, but sometimes when you have a little bit of competition amongst groups, that could be fun too, to build that traction. And another suggestion, I guess, is how could you maybe incorporate the donation part, in addition to them redeeming coupons for themselves to use, whether they could redeem something that they could pass on again, so yeah, that's some suggestions there. But overall, excellent, so keep going.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Sophia.
Hi. Okay, can you hear me? Yes. Great. So Caitlin, I think I really loved your presentation. I think you've really gone deeply into the problem. You can see how much you've explored it from different areas, which is really great. The one point of feedback that I would have, I think, is to slow down a little bit when you're introducing your solution. So I think if you start out by saying very clearly, and so my idea to solve this is to create an app with a food waste tracker. And you can sort of pause, everyone can understand that, right? And let that sink in and be like, oh, that's a really interesting idea. It also could help if you don't need to have a prototype or any screenshots, but if you could slow down a little bit and sort of zoom in on the user experience of this app. So if you can say, for example, who is tracking the food? When will they input it into the app? How will they show? Do they take a photo or something like that? But going into sort of the details makes your product more tangible to the people who are listening. And so we can understand better. I think the one question I would have for you is, does this app rely on users self-reporting how much food that they are buying or throwing away or putting in those numbers themselves? And do you think there might be any challenges in this?
Yes, it's self-reporting, and one of the biggest challenges that we had is how to keep users motivated to keep using our food waste app tracker, and that is why we start to employ the voucher and point system. But we're also creating a system where users can add their friends and family. And so if one day they were tired or didn't want to do it, someone else from that household can also do it for them. And so that is what we're thinking right now.
Fantastic. And last one, Gulnar, after you.
Hey, Kaitlin. So I really liked how you said food is love in your family, and I can relate to that. What I learned from you is when you talked about the impact you want to make, you tied it to awareness, right? And I think ultimately you are looking to shift behaviors, right, of your market segment.
Yes.
And what I know and what I've learned from my work is that before you can shift a behavior, you need to shift a mindset, right? How do you propose to shift the mindset and perhaps sell the business case to people who you want them to change their behaviors? So that's one, and let's park the mindset and the behaviors to a side. And the other thing I'd like to explore with you is what other challenges do you anticipate in this shifting of behaviors or selling a different mindset to your target audience?
So for the first question, we see that there is a lot more openness in in the Indonesian society now. They want to be more conscious, and I feel like one of our ideas was to introduce our app and our goals to universities and schools, and starting to introduce our goals with the younger audience. And so it's easier to change their mindset when we start young. And I feel like right now, because of the openness, I feel like it'll be easier to sell our business. And one challenge I think is, again, because one of our cultures in Indonesia is to host these lavish parties and to send a lot of food because it's a sign of love. I feel like in the beginning it'll be kind of hard because it's already like rooted in the culture to purchase a lot of food to give to other people, and sometimes that could lead to over purchasing of food. So I feel like that would be a challenge, is to just change the culture as well.
Thank you, Kaitlin.
Thank you.
All right, we're just about out of time for this question section, folks. So audience, we're going to pop a little poll up on the screen for you. Judges, if I can direct you to your scoring sheets, that'd be awesome. You can put that in. And Kaitlin, I have one more question for you. You mentioned it was a freemium model. Do you mind giving me a couple of things that are different in the premium model that I would get versus the freemium model?
So the basic model, you get the recipes, like the basic recipes. You also get a list, so you can put like your groceries, and you can also compare how much food you consume versus how much you waste. However, for the premium model, we'll have like this barcode scanner, which when we benchmarked at other apps, we saw that the other food waste tracking apps had this barcode scanner for when they shop their groceries. They will also get more detailed recipes. They also get the connection to food banks, as well as for the basic one, they do get points for how much food. For the freemium model, you get like a more detailed like recipe list. You also get the barcode scanner, which we benchmark and other apps had, and also for the basic one, you get to collect the points, but if you want to transfer it into vouchers, you'll have to pay for the freemium model.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. Well, thank you, Kaitlin. Really enjoyed that presentation.